Hello Taste Buddies, and welcome back to the Taste Buddies Club. Today we're going to make country fried steak, dirty mashed potatoes, and creamy gravy. Yum. Let's get started.
I'll be everything you need. I'll be everything you need. I'll be everything you need.
So we have a package of beautiful cube steak here. And we're going to open the package and remove the cube steaks. We have a small cutting board here that we're going to lay the cube steaks on top of. Aren't they beautiful? So thin. Once you have your cube steak out of the package and aligned on top of your cutting board, we're going to get a quarter teaspoon of pink Himalayan sea salt, and you're going to sprinkle it on top of the cube steaks. Sprinkle a quarter of that pink Himalayan sea salt on each side of the cube steak. And then just let that sit. And then you're going to take 4 potatoes, small to medium sized. Fill your sink with warm to hot water. Then get your veggie scrubber and just really wash your potatoes. I mean, you really want to scrub these potatoes. Scrub them until the skin becomes a little bit transparent on them. Each of your potatoes should be scrubbed so well that they start to look transparent, where you can start to see the inside of the potato from the outside. So get them really good and clean, okay? Clean your sink. Replace your stopper. Put your potatoes back inside. This time we're using hot water. You can see the steam coming off the water. We're just going to cut our potatoes into 4 pieces. Cut it in half. In half. Cutting our potatoes, we have a medium-sized saucepan on the stove with 2 cups of water in it that we're bringing to a boil. Just rinse those off. We're going to transfer these potato slices into a bowl and set them to the side. And then just go ahead and clean your sink out again, because you'll be using this again. Waiting for the water to boil, we're going to fill our sink up with water. Just the very bottom of the sink we're going to fill with water. So you don't want your water too high, so just a little bit of water. Just enough to cover the entire bottom of the sink. Okay, and then once we get the entire bottom of the sink covered, we're going to submerge our cube steaks into the water. You didn't think I was going to cook dirty meat, did you? I don't know. Some of you probably did. I don't know what planet you were from. We're going to submerge our cube steaks into the bottom of the water and just let those sit there for a few moments. By now, the water in our saucepan should be coming to a boil. We can see it bubbling up. We have it on high. So we're just going to wait for that to come to a complete boil, where the water is completely boiling. Okay, now this water is coming to a rapid boil. We're going to go ahead and grab our potato halves. Place them in the water. Put all of the potato halves into the boiling water. And grab a utensil so that you can press down and make sure that the water is completely covering all of the potato halves. Okay, and then once those potatoes come to a rapid boil, we're going to go ahead and turn our heat down to a medium high. So we're going to put the heat on about 5. And then we're just going to go ahead and proceed to wash those cube steaks. We're going to rinse off the cube steaks. They're so tender, with a little bit of hot water. Squeeze them out and return them to your clean cutting board. And then you can proceed to season your cube steaks to taste. I'm going to use a little bit of brisket rub, some garlic powder, and some slap your mama to give it a little spice. Again, this is seasoned to taste, so that is to your taste. If you don't like garlic powder, brisket rub, slap your mama, then don't put it on there. Okay? And then I like to just kind of, pat mine down on both sides. Make sure that seasoning is soaking in really good. Okay, and then I have a bowl here that is filled with a cup of flour. And I'm going to put my cube steaks inside of this bowl of flour. You can put yours in a bag. You can flour yours, on top of the cutting board. Whatever you need to do to coat your cube steaks with flour, then just go ahead and use that method. But this is the method that I use because for me, it's the cleanest method. And I don't have to worry about having flour all over my cabinets, my floor, and everywhere else. So I just go ahead and snap my food items that needs to be floured into a airtight bowl. And then I just proceed to shake the bowl. You can look through the bowl and see how that flour is coating all of these cube steaks. Shake it up well, and you see I don't have flour anywhere except inside of the bowl where it should be. Okay, and now what we want to do is go ahead and turn our owl on to high so that we can heat a large frying pan. And just let that get a little warm. Shouldn't take more than maybe 30 to 60 seconds. Okay, and once that pan gets a little warm, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. And then we're going to let that heat. We brought over our seasoned, floured cube steaks. Okay, and then when you hear the grease popping, get your butt out the way. Then we're going to add our cube steaks to the hot grease. And then you're just going to let those fry. The heat level 6. Keep the extra flour close by. We will be using that again. You can take a few paper towels and lay them on either your cutting board that you were using or onto a plate, because this is what you'll use to transfer your cube steaks onto so that you can drain the grease off of them. And once they've cooked a little bit on one side, go ahead and flip them over so that you can cook them on the other side. Okay, now that we're halfway done, we want to turn that heat down to about 4. Okay, and then we're just going to flip them over again. I hate frying stuff in my house. Going to flip them over one more time. And we're going to flip them again. And then we could just go ahead and check our potatoes to see how soft they are. Just want to mash them down a little bit. Just kind of chop them into a few more pieces. Not completely mashed, but just chopped down into just a few more pieces. You can see that they're just really boiled. Okay, and now that they're really starting to boil, the potatoes, what we're going to do is remove the saucepan from the heat, and then we're going to walk over to the sink, and we're going to pour all this water off of these potatoes. See how dry those potatoes are? And then you just return them back to the heat. Then we're going to go back to our flip zone and flip our cube steaks over again. Then what we're going to do is get our masher, and then we're just going to go ahead and just start mashing those potatoes down. And then we're going to take a half a cup of milk and pour it into the potatoes. And then you just take a spoon and just kind of stir it around. And then you could turn those potatoes all the way to low. And then just go ahead and flip your cube steak over one more time. Okay, and then just let that cook for a little bit. And then to the potatoes, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of butter. Okay, now that you've added your butter, we can go ahead and remove our steaks and just place those yummy bad boys onto your transfer surface, and just keep that off of the heat for a few seconds. Then get your potatoes, and then just go ahead and stir that butter in there. Okay, and then again, return that back to the heated owl. And remember, the owl is on low now. You may want to season your potatoes a little bit. The only thing that I use in my potatoes is black pepper. I wish I had fresh ground black pepper, but I don't. But I do have just Adam's black pepper. And if you don't like pepper in your potatoes, then don't put any in there. Again, season to your specifications, your liking. And then we're just going to stir that up. You can put salt in your potatoes, seasoning salt, slap your mama, mayo, ranch, whatever you want to put in your potatoes. But this is the way that I'm cooking them. And I used butter and ground pepper. Then just return that back to the owl. And at this point, you can go ahead and turn that owl on off. And then we're going to go ahead and return our pan that we were cooking our steaks in. And you'll see that there's some little crumbs that are in here. Just go ahead and scrape those little crumbs that are in there. Just scrape them around in the pan. Okay? And then from the same bowl that you had your flour in from when you were cooking your steaks, it's going to be an excess of flour, and you're going to need that excess of flour, okay? So with that excess of flour, and that is about 2 tablespoons of flour. And then just stir that flour around in that pan, scratching all lumps from the flour. And the same cup, measuring cup that you had your oil in, you can use that same measuring cup. Don't rinse that oil out. Get you about a half a cup of milk, and then just add it to that flour. And remember, we have that heat on 4. What we're going to do is go ahead and turn that to 7. And then you're just going to keep stirring that flour and milk until it starts to thicken. When it starts to thicken, then just go ahead and turn your owl to off. Okay, and then after it thickens, see, it's thick and bubbly like a little paste. And then you're just going to pour in a 4th cup of water. And then you're going to get your whisk. Use the large end of your whisk. And then you're just going to whisk that mixture together. Make sure you scrape everything from the sides. Okay, and then once you whisk that until it's just like a liquid, it's supposed to be like a liquid. And then what we're going to do is turn our burner back on 4 and then just whisk it a little bit more. The burner is on 4, and then you're just gonna let that sit for a second or two until it starts to bubble. Okay, and then once it starts to bubble, pick up your cube steaks and just drop them back in that gravy, and just make sure that you do not scrape the bottom of your pan with the metal fork because it will ruin your pan. So once you have those back in there, you're now going to take your wooden spatula and then just rub those around in there. And then flip them over. So you want gravy on both sides. And if you notice, I did leave one out of the gravy. That is because I'm probably going to make a country fried steak sandwich. You can go ahead and turn your burner to off. And it is time to make your plate. Okay, and there we have it, guys. Country fried steak with dirty mashed potatoes and gravy. Now it's time for a taste. That country fried steak is so tender. Look at how tender it is. You just pull it up with a fork. So tender. Delicious, guys. Thanks for watching and enjoy.